Hello you, and welcome back to this channel, Football Therapy, with me, your host Jan. That's right, I'm manning up in the press conference room to talk to you. Let's see if we can actually. It's a good table. Yes, we're going to give you some news, some Chelsea news today, as well as hopefully offering some good old-fashioned football therapy. And hot dog, ladies and gentlemen, many a Chelsea fan could do with some therapy right now, because we haven't been in a difficult time like this since 2015 under Jose Mourinho, when we were mid-table. Although, even back then we had Eden Hazard, Cesc Fabregas, Diego Costa. We should not have been mid-table. Anyway, we're a peculiar squad right now. We're languishing in mid-table. We're not going to get Champions League football. I apologise. Newsflash. But we're not going to get relegated either. It's about seeing out the season, finding some squad harmony and chemistry on the pitch, and seeing a future with this squad that is being built currently. How is it going to move forward? How are we going to make this work? When is the coaching staff all going to start clicking together? When is this recruitment staff really going to start seeing or the technical football staff seeing their vision joined up the long term? It's sad. We didn't want the season to be a write-off, but it looks like it may be. Point being, Graham Potter will not be sacked, certainly unless we are in a relegation battle, which I don't believe we will be. All reports suggest business as usual, so let's all take a collective deep breath in through the nasal passage. And release. Don't worry about it. Hopefully we win some games, score some goals, see some player combinations, and slowly, one can hope, we can drip feed some positivity into the rest of the season. Today we're going to give you some updates on players potentially leaving, and then we can just talk about a little bit more Chelsea moving forwards. Moving forwards. Moving forwards is good. Why don't you drop a like on the video? It's a good opportunity for me to say, it's time to like, baby. Support your local content creator. I'm almost certainly not local to you, but you can support me all the same, and you can subscribe if you want to. You're welcome to. You're all welcome to subscribe. Hey, you don't even need to be a Chelsea fan. You might just enjoy listening to me ramble on about Chelsea. Now, get the microphones up, I think, maybe for this one. Today, in today's episode, press, we'll be talking about high-profile player exits. We'll be talking about how Chelsea move forward from here. And we'll be talking about, can Graham Potter be the long-term solution-ish, maybe. It depends if we'll get to that. All right, bye then. Bye. All right. I'm going to use Cy Phillips on Twitter as a bit of an aggregation tool here. Of course, he's a good account that gives you, good information. First of all, David Ornstein, Matt Law, Simon Johnson Sport, Graham Bailey, the universal reported opinion from all reputable journalists and indeed platforms, newspapers, are saying, yes, Chelsea won't blink. They've got a plan and they want to stick by it. Understandably, this is not reports that Chelsea fans are upset with Graham Potter, that he is maybe not getting as emotional as they'd want, but of course, just not scoring goals. The optics of that abject performance against Southampton was incredibly poor. I myself got very angry that evening, and I'd like to think those of you who've maybe only watched me a little bit of time, but indeed you might have watched me for a while, you'll probably know that I'm pretty measured, philosophical. I don't like to get too angry if I can avoid it, but I got annoyed. I was angry, and yes, it was one of those testing times, and I have every sympathy with the Chelsea fans who were just like, this has got to stop. But the truth is, and Nizar Kinsella is also, from The Standard, has written about this, parachuting in a high-profile European manager that has, no idea about the Premier League and the squad is not going to help this season. Now, I shan't criticise anyone who wants a change of manager. I have great sympathy for that. But really, right now, unless you're getting in a Sean Dyche, who's gone at everything now, so you missed that boat, it's not going to help us. Zidane is, if he's got Ronaldo and Benzema, he can be a Galactico whisperer and score goals. He doesn't come into this squad and fix things. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Neither does Poch or Enrique. If truly the professional people who have been appointed by the club, and now our analysts, if they truly feel like Potter is suddenly not the man who they thought he was, they will address that accordingly and in the appropriate time to do so, which isn't now. And we need to clear out, bro. Let's talk about this, because there's a bunch of players being linked with a move away. Of course, first of all, we reported on Mason Mount recently. Graham Bailey is saying Liverpool are very interested in Mason Mount, although he would prefer to remain at Chelsea as it stands. He wants to extend with Chelsea. He's, he has an affinity with Chelsea, but we need to see how that goes in the summer. Of course, there's a midfield rebuild going on. We'll probably look to buy one more high-profile midfielder, whether that's to partner, I imagine it will be to partner Enzo, whether the Chelsea hierarchy, board, club, structure sees Zakaria or, a Ruben Loftus-Cheek, as a long-term partner to Enzo Fernandez. I doubt that. Of course, we'd love to see N'Golo Kante come in and partner Enzo Fernandez in a 4-2-3, or in a midfield 2 essentially, and by all accounts we will see that. He could even be ready for the return leg against Dortmund at Stamford Bridge. That would be a welcome sight, though I don't think we should put an immense amount of pressure on N'Golo Kante to just suddenly come back and be, Superman again. But he's certainly an option. But interestingly, Mateo Kovacic, who partnered Enzo Fernandez in the last game, he's got 18 months on his deal, and he's got no contract extension offers at the moment from Chelsea. It's suggesting that Chelsea aren't necessarily looking to extend Kovacic and possibly sell him in the summer. Now, that will come as a bit of a surprise and maybe even like a disappointment for Mateo Kovacic. Of course, before Mason Mount won consecutive Player of the Year awards, who won it the year before that? It was Mateo Kovacic. He's a great player. He's a great ball carrier, dribbler. He's, he needs to probably score more goals, but, he's a very technical, press-resistant player. And, of course, in the era of Sarri ball, and indeed the fallout past that, he was a good, useful player. But maybe the analysts, your Christopher Vavels, your Went Stanleys, your Lawrence Stewarts, all this new think tank, the footballing think tank at Chelsea Football Club, maybe they look at him and think, you know what? He's great, yeah, but he's not what we're looking for to play football moving forwards. So therefore, we'll listen to offers. And you have to think he'd bring a few quid, Mateo Kovacic. He's probably on quite high wages. He's going to be 28, 29. He'll have a year left in his deal, but he's won 4 Champions Leagues. Granted, 3, he didn't get on the pitch, but he's a good player. He's a high-quality player, and that will certainly be recognised. Chelsea won't make loads of money from him, but they'll make some. So if they're selling the likes of, Kovacic, Aubameyang will go, but he'll make very little. He will leave in the summer. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He's just not on the project. Maybe he's just not fit. He's not applying himself. So Aubameyang will go, bring a tiny bit of money. You'd have to say the same with Kovacic. He'll bring a little bit of money. But interestingly as well, Fabrizio Romano has confirmed on the House of Champions podcast this, quote, I think Christian Pulisic has chances to go in the summer. So we were prepared to let Christian Pulisic go in January before the injury. Our plan is Mudryk in, Pulisic out. So that is the long-term plan on that left-hand side. You probably keep Sterling, I guess. There was obviously rumours that Chelsea would listen to offers for Sterling, but he's not a new long-term deal. He's our highest-paid player on the club, and considering he's not like he's in particularly bad form comparatively to our other players, but it's not like he's banging in loads of goals, and a club will want to come in and pay loads of money and pay his high wages. So you'd have to say the left-hand side wingers, Sterling will stay, Mudryk will stay on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side you've got Madueke and other players that would drift out wide, because I do think Hakim Ziyech will go as well. So you've got to think as well in terms of generating revenue and financial fair play. Kovacic, Ziyech, Pulisic, these are high profile players that granted won't have long left on their deals, but collectively should bring a few quid in. Chelsea, of course, will still listen to offers for the likes of Conor Gallagher, who they believe will retain good value because a Premier League club will come in for Conor Gallagher and essentially pay a lot of money for him. £40 million was the asking price, or 50 million I saw at one point, which is a bit fanciful if you ask me. But yeah, young England international, big potential. Chelsea will generate a decent amount of revenue in the summer should they prepare appropriately to have a real big clear out. Surely one would have to think in the summer transfer window, the main application will be on exits rather than people coming in. Of course, we've already got Christopher Nkunku joining us as well, so there's plenty of people coming in, and you could argue he could play on that left flank and move Raheem Sterling over to the right, and then there's more cover there in the wide positions. There's plenty of attackers, man. Excuse me, you could probably sign a midfielder, you sign a striker, you sell everyone else. At least like the aforementioned people. Not everyone else, but the people I'm talking about. So let's talk about this. Who's going to manage Chelsea next season? Well, unless, like I said, Chelsea get drawn into a relegation battle and we need to fight our way out, I believe it will be Graham Potter. Reports again, just to confirm, to reaffirm, they want to give Graham Potter a pre-season. Of course, he hasn't had a pre-season. They want him to have a pre-season at Chelsea, and they want him to have, in the words of David Ornstein, at least one more transfer window. And that is like, not just to buy more players, Chelsea spent $500 million, get more players are the answer. No, to have a clear out as well. That is the incentive here. Let him actually have a look at, get some of these, perhaps, not want to say toxic influences, but like, characters perhaps looming over the squad that don't want to be there, that whatever. Sort this out a little bit. You've got a lot of young players. Let them find harmony together and, keep your Thiago Silva mentor. Maybe Azpilicueta goes as well. That's not something we've spoken about, but of course, Malo Gusto is coming in the summer as well. We forget about him in terms of incomings. Him and Nkunku will arrive. And Malo Gusto will be the rotational right back with Reece James. And, you will lose a big leader, an important character in Azpilicueta. But I have a feeling we may let him go. If he truly wants to go out to Spain still and there's a move from there, or, because I feel like there's a sense of, with Azpi, he's done his work at Chelsea. He's won every single trophy. He's captained us to a Champions League win. I think he's done, and Club World Cup, our first ever Club World Cup, he captained it. He's a legend now. He's done his bit. So they're looking forwards. They've made contingency plans, bold accounts that they didn't need to get Champions League football this season. It's not about doing well now immediately, which is a big shift for Chelsea and Chelsea fans. That's why people are upset. People are upset because they want instant results, and I get that. And it's not for me to gatekeep how anyone feels or about football and supports their football club. If you're angry, be angry. I feel like I'm not in the middle here. Be angry. It's not for me to say. I was angry. I told you after the Saturday game I was losing my mind, but that's what football does to you. Then I took a deep breath. I was like, also had Liverpool didn't start winning it. Had Arsenal not been at the top of the league. These little things, that will wind you up as a football fan. Jorginho sort of scoring winners in that game against Arsenal, which by the way I'm cool with. I saw these another article today, Jorginho. People were getting wound up and upset because Jorginho says, Chelsea made it clear I wasn't in their plans, but so he went to Arsenal. Yeah, why are people wound up by that? Of course that was the case. Look, they liked Jorginho. They got some money for him. They weren't going to extend him, but they probably still would have been playing him had he not gone to Arsenal. And it's a great move for everyone. That hasn't changed. Chelsea have just spent £106 million on Enzo Fernandez. He's the passing midfielder in the midfield now. Not Jorginho. That was always going to be the case. Jorginho's in his 30s. He's 10 years old or whatever. Suddenly people are just annoyed and then want to channel that energy on something. When I get it. Again, it's not a criticism. It's just an observation. If we lose to Tottenham, Leeds and Dortmund, if we lose all three of those games, I think, the owners might go, but You know, why not be positive? Win all 3 of those games? It seems unlikely now, but there is scope for a positive trend. We'll have to see what happens. Point is, to wind up this therapy session, we all love Chelsea, but don't let it wind you up. We're going to be all right. Ultimately, you have to take the bird's eye view, the step back and go, right, well, this lot who just bought Chelsea, they understand you need a structure. They understand you need footballing brains. It can't just be a boardroom. And they've brought both of those in. You know, just listening to David Ornstein again speak, saying, look, Graham Potter is an incredibly highly regarded coach within the game of football. Not necessarily by all fans right now, but by people in football that work in the game, that have seen his methods, that have seen his work. They're all like, yeah, he's great. Doesn't mean it's going to work at Chelsea, though. We'll have to wait and see, but I do thank you for joining me, and I thank you for liking the video and subscribing. I'll always be here for you every single day. So hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby, when you subscribe. And, yeah, man, take care of yourself. Peace.